Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? A win is a win is a win. Do you see it the same way?
That's basically what I said on Twitter after the game was over, given how ugly, and that's even probably putting it nicely, how ugly that game was. But look, the conditions were bad. We know that the Saints offense has issues. Their defense played well. Random Brian Johnson from the Breakfast Club, he decides to come in and make field goals, and he's like the player of the game outside of Kamara and Demario Davis. But look, just go to Seattle, get a win, and get out. If you're a Saints fan, you should be happy with that every day, every time you go there. Who cares how it actually all looked?
Well, the reason that people care because of how it looked is projectability, right? So that was ugly, but how does it look going forward because that was ugly? So is there any saving this passing game this year?
Michael Thomas wouldn't hurt. I mean, if you get someone like that back, I mean, it's someone who you probably feel comfortable with throwing into, say, maybe contested coverage. But also that's got to go back to Jameis Winston wanting to throw into contested coverage. And I'm not totally sure how much he wants to do that, given he gets chewed out by Sean Payton when things don't go so great, and just the game plan in and of itself. So we saw certainly some testy moments with Tre'Quan Smith on the sideline with Jameis Winston. And it's not like Tre'Quan Smith looked all that sharp coming back. I know how much you love that we talked about him for a couple of weeks, how he could help this passing game. I know you're probably seething that I even just brought him up in the first place.
Dude, he's so worthless. I mean, I'm sure he's a nice guy and all, but like he's an absolute zero on this team. He gives you nothing. Like I cannot imagine. Anyway, go ahead. Whatever.
Well, how about Deontay Harris, Taysom Hill? Those guys come back. You can get them involved as well. So, look, there are pieces to the puzzle that can come back and help you. But I think the sum of it all, I mean, we're kind of seeing what the Saints are, and it's going to be a struggle overall to have a consistent passing game until we get to pass the season and maybe new pieces can come. Maybe the Saints, spin a yarn and pull off a trade and pick up a wide receiver before the trade deadline. I don't know if I'm not suggesting that's going to happen. I'm sure they're going to look into it, but still, look, it's not pretty. I mean, we're 6 games in. It hasn't gotten any better. Some might argue it's gotten worse.
Yet they keep winning. There was just a report from Adam Schefter that Willie Snead's available. I mean, if you're the Saints, is that bridge burned, or is that a possible reunion the same way that Kenny Stills was?
I was about to say, it's like the same ilk of a Kenny Stills deal, right? Where you thought a bridge might be burned. Well, I think if Willie Snead wants a paycheck, and if Saints want to have someone that maybe can come in and actually catch the football, unlike we're seeing when Kenny Stills and Kevin White can't catch deep balls and help out Jameis Winston. I mean, he's worth looking at. Why wouldn't you? I mean, they have to look at every option just because they're so inept at wide receiver. And it's not like tight ends giving you a big bunch of help either. Troutman with another fumble. So you got to look under everything, because 30 touches every week for Alvin Kamara is not going to work. That's too much. I know he caught the ball a lot better. And that worked, but still, that you still had to scratch and claw to get to 13 points. Again, conditions were tough. It's hard to play in Seattle, but you're not, even if you're scoring 20, 21 points a game, that's typically not enough to win an NFL football game.
Larry Holder's with us on Twitter at Larry Holder. But the things that are going exceptionally well for New Orleans right now are defense and special teams, which is propping up the offense, which is struggling. It's just kind of an about face from what this team was for a lot of years, where the offense was elite and the defense struggled. So we're just watching the Saints win in different ways. I was asked earlier today, is Demario Davis the best free agent signing in Saints history? And I said, well, no, Drew Brees is, but he's the second best after Drew Brees. Would you agree?
Yes, I didn't even have to see him this year to actually say that. I could put up some other players, maybe someone like Jabari Greer, who actually gave you a viable corner for a bunch of years. But
Jonathan Vilma?
Yeah, well, Vilma was a trade.
It was a trade, yeah.
So, in that sense, it's a little different. But still, Demario Davis has been incredible, like an incredible piece to this puzzle. I would argue, look, he's the best linebacker. I think he's the best linebacker they've had in the Peyton era, and that's being better than Vilma. Like he's better than Vilma because he can do more and rush the passer, play the run, play the pass, you name it, he can do it all. Imagine what they'd be without him. Like they'd be pretty sunk. I mean, they wouldn't have won last night. And he's been such a, not just on the field, but look, he's an undeniable leader, and actions totally follow that up. So, Drew Brees is always going to be number one, but Demario is going to be one of the best in period team history. Wow. Not just like Peyton era, but team history. He's going to be one of the best free pickups they've ever had.
Larry, we also spent so much time this offseason worrying about cornerback, yet that's actually been a pretty dominant position group, and we saw it again last night with Lattimore, even Bradley Roby when he got in there. And Larry, he hasn't been playing as much because Adebo's been really good. Are you settled with where they are at corner?
I would be. I don't think that's something you got to revisit. Say the trade market. I mean, you already traded for Bradley Roby. You gave up some. You didn't give up peanuts. You gave up something to get him. But the fact that he's not playing just goes to show you that Paulson Adebo has been playing better than maybe we expected. Heck, on the Manning cast, Tom Brady knew exactly who Paulson Adebo was already. Like, knew where he went to school, knew where he was drafted, knew he's been playing well. So he's already catching Brady's eyes. Like, I've been watching film on him already. So he's probably going to try to pick on him. But he also mentioned Tom Brady in the same breath that, look, Bradley Roby's a really good player. So he knows, and the rest of the league knows that, we were wondering if the Saints secondary would be a strength, and you had all this kind of jumbling at corner. Look, that secondary is back to being a strength. I mean, okay, one bad play against DK Metcalf, so be it. That they did not give up much of anything else after that play.
And what did you make of the day Brian Johnson had, especially considering the circumstances?
If he can make any kicks, good, because everyone else couldn't. Right. I mean, Aldrich Rosas, Brett Maher, whatever you want to call him, Cody Parkey and his 1 point with the Saints and his livelihood. At least he was. Here's the difference: Brian Johnson was at least viable to be on someone, basically kept on someone's roster. These other guys weren't. Even though in his practice squad, still he was behind a guy, Cairo Santos, former Tulaner, who's kicked 35 straight field goals in a row. So Brian Johnson, hey, you're going to have to ride with him. Will Lutz out for the year. Him announcing that on Twitter today, and that was definitely a surprise. I mean, they designated him for a return off IR. He admitted that he had a setback. So I'm sure you're always going to have that Saints Bermuda Triangle of kickers on speed dial, but still, it's a better debut than any of those other guys had. Yeah. So I guess you're gonna have to ride with them.
Like, I wonder. I mean, it's not that dissimilar with how Will Lutz ended up getting the job. Like, I mean, is there a realistic chance? I mean, he doesn't have to worry about his job, right? He doesn't have to worry about Will Lutz coming back, so he can kick free and loose. I mean, what happens if he ends up having a really good second half of this year?
I think they still stay true to Will Lutz, even though it would be cheaper to go the other route. But look, if this guy is amazing and does great things, maybe you get kind of usurped by the injury. But at least the Saints have some sort of kicker they sort of feel good about right now. Let's not go too far. I mean, his longest kick was 33 yards.
Yeah.
But still, it was in a clutch moment. He needed to make the kick, and who knows? If he's amazing, then you ride with him. I don't know, because but still, I'm gonna assume that Brian Johnson, even if he's cut after this year, he will have a job after this year, just because he's gonna have to stick unless he's totally bad, and then we're asking Taysom Hill to kick field goals at that rate.
Don't tempt Sean Payton with that type of sorcery. He may just do it.
Or just go for 2 on everything, and then go for it every time.
He may just do it. So Saints gonna beat the Bucs on Halloween?
Last time I doubted them severely, they beat the pants off of the Packers. So I'm not going to say it's impossible, but I've just been paying a lot of attention to Tampa just because I've been writing a lot more national stuff. So I've been kind of keeping an eye on everybody this year. And I mean, their offense is rolling. Like it's definitely in Tampa's defense. They're getting a little better. They're still susceptible, but it's going to come down to the Saints defense having to play big boy football like they did in the 2 previous games in the regular season to slow down that Bucs offense because, they won the Super Bowl last year, and I feel like they're just getting started with their offense. I mean, it's dynamic. Leonard Fournette's playing really well. They're running it much better. I mean, remember last time they played in the regular season, they ran the ball 5 times. They're doing far better than that now. I know Antonio Brown has got a banged-up ankle. He didn't play this week. I'm curious to see if he plays. And the Bucs offensive line is playing better than they were last year, and they were still pretty good last year. So this is to me is a better team than the one that they played last year.
I think the Saints more resemble the Bucs last year. Start slow, just be your healthiest best by the postseason and make a run.
Well, I think the Saints, they just got to get in. And if they start getting on a roll, their defense is good enough to keep them in it. And if you can, because look, it's not like you're having these major blowout games and, in postseason. So, look, you get in and then you figure out you win some fluky games, who cares? Or if your offense gets a little bit better. So I'm with you, though. I think the Saints team can get better. I mean, look, they're 4-2 right now, and we're talking about them like, man, how do they keep winning? But I think they're going to get better. I think this offense will get better. It won't be something totally ugly like we saw last night every week. I think they're going to get better. And and while you're still trying to figure it out, the fact you're 4-2, I think that's pretty good.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.